MakingStarWars.net. And well, we had a really, really hard week this week. We weren't here on Friday. Rob died. I buried him in the pet cemetery, and now it's the evil version of Rob is here. And then we got Azzatru just in case Rob goes evil and tries to, attack us or anything like that.
Well, I'm a vegan werewolf. It's fine. I'm a vegan werewolf, so I don't.
Vegan werewolf.
I only eat Gordian shard. That's what I eat.
Gordian shard.
Yeah, whatever.
So, we got.
Weren't the gourds on Fraggle? Hold on. Weren't the gourds on Fraggle Rock? Weren't the gourds?
I remember the Fraggles. I remember the
gourds.
Dozer?
Hey, I'm afraid of Fraggles. Right? That's a man, though. That guy, right? The gourds. All right, whatever.
That sounds fair. Sure. Sounds likely. But and do what Rural Farm Boy says and like the show, subscribe to it, and you could get the show as a podcast on all the podcast networks, whatever. You know what to do, you idiots. But here we go.
Chumps.
You fucking jokes of human beings. So Diego Luna explains how the audience is part of Andor Season 2, sheds light on his Star Wars future. Oh, and by the way, on a little side note before we get into it, this is all also like a behind the scenes of Azzatru's channel, because you can see Azzatru working on the video that he needs to get out like ASAP right now. So this is what it looks like. So this is like an Inception.
He's making clickbait thumbnails right now.
It's actually for tomorrow. I think tomorrow's video, because I've just put one out. It's good. Go watch it.
It's all Fallen Order did what? And it has like...
It's just like when you get to... Jason, remember when you used to watch like the pizza guy make the pizza through the window? That's what we're doing now. Huh? We're watching him make the internet
like,
pizza.
It's like Sbarro's for internet video games. They're okay. So
why do I remember what that tastes like? It's so chewy.
It tastes awful. Awful.
So horrible.
There may be only one season of Andor to go, but it sounds like it's exactly what audiences are hoping for. This is from Variety. Diego Luna, who's currently filming the final season of Disney Plus series in London, opened up about the experience on Friday at the Miami Film Festival.
Jason, are we supposed to be looking? All I see is Dave Filoni on Ahsoka and his Star Wars transition.
Oh,
you have the right window up?
Really?
You have the wrong window up.
No, that is. You're right.
There we go.
So that was a spoiler. I don't know why it did that, but whatever. It's been bittersweet because every day I know I'm a day closer to the end, said Luna. It's really nice to approach a series knowing there's an ending. It doesn't happen. The new conversation on set with streaming is people talking about the possible future, like, well, there might be a second season or a third season, this thing, or leaving everything open. I think this bringing anxiety to actors that need to be treated. We're all thinking about something that we can't know. So he's basically going off about how,
Big Smiths fan, I think. Like,
yeah, it's a little emo here,
a little morose. Okay.
So it goes on to say the second season ends where Rogue One starts. Wait, yeah, we're not changing the ending of Rogue One, so that's it. It's a nice feeling. It's like a long film. It has a beginning and an end, and we all know what's going to happen. He said, "There's something interesting with the second season, which is that I have a different feeling every day I go on set. Now I know." Not just the series was well received and that people liked it, but I know why they liked it. That's another tool we have these days through social media. We actually listen to the audience and critics. We understand what things connected and what didn't connect. It's kind of cool to have an opportunity to go and execute another season having this information. It's in a way a season that will end up representing the audience in a different way. Somehow the audience is part of this season because the interaction we had served as inspiration. So that was really what I wanted to hit on from that article, which I thought was kind of weird because I think everything hit on the first season.
Yeah, what didn't connect other than Santa complaining that it's too serious? Like,
no, he never said that, did he?
Weren't they? Yeah, it was.
No,
it's too serious.
No, that wasn't. I don't think so. I think
cry.
No, you were supposed to. Didn't you make a deal with Santa for some reason that you're supposed to just kiss his butt this week? Like, didn't that happen last week? I remember something where you were like, oh, I bought you off somehow. But
well, I'm not a man of my word, Jason, so I couldn't tell you.
But
too many words.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the only thing I could actually think of that makes things that didn't connect, bro, is everybody who wanted a fucking cameo from every single. That's the only thing that really like, and I don't think the show needs it. So,
they didn't get enough Masamita, right? That was they kind of needed their Masamita and goth chick.
That's fair.
Right.
And then this is the other thing right here. Okay, this is from Collider. Can any Star Wars TV show live up to the standard set by Ander?
Mark Fernandez write this himself?
Chase Hutchinson.
AKA Mark Fernandez.
The best story this universe has ever told was brought into focus. How many of the other entries are lackluster and unimaginative? Now, this right here, I gotta say, I think it's just. I think what they're addressing here is a real fan topic that comes up, but I also think it's fucking stupid at the end of the day, because it's like they make some things for 4-year-old boys and they make some things for 40-year-old boys. You know what I mean? Or whatever people. And it's like
Kenobi was made for 4-year-olds. And Boba Fett was made by 40-year-olds.
By 40-year-olds, yeah. Yeah. But you know what I mean? No, it literally denies the magnitude of this audience. And it says, oh, there should be one thing that just works for everybody. And sorry, but Andor is never going to work for children. And it's
I just want to know if Collider could ever live up to Collider Video before they trashed everything 3 years ago to go full deep fake and for your consideration videos. Remember that? Remember that genius fucking move? Mark Fernandez, you fucking idiot.
I don't know. I don't really follow their stuff.
I do.
Specifically, the series just can't seem to stop telling the same stories with the same elements over and over again. And I understand that criticism, but I also understand that that's the mainline crack, the Force, the lightsaber, that kind of stuff. Mandalorians, like that's the shit that people want over and over again. So what are you going to do? This was felt more clearly with the recent premiere of The Mandalorian that, while not without some fun, set the third season off to an already rocky start. I don't know about that. Where Andor felt like it was looking to the future, even as it was taking place far in the past. This episode was perpetually stuck looking back and stumbling over its own feet. See, like, I just feel like this is just somebody that doesn't get it.
Hey, man, I didn't like the pirates, but I don't think the thing stumbled its own feet. Just, like, don't be as corny. Like, I think the thing that they miss, thing that they miss, I feel, is they put slapstick comedy in versus letting comedic moments pan out. So a comedic moment, like in The Empire Strikes Back, is when 3PO's mouthing off and Harrison Ford just puts his hand over his mouth to shut him up or something, right? And and then like 3PO sits there and goes, does that like, like that's funny. But it's not slapstick. I think about, like, imagine if at the Hoth battle when Leia's telling the troops what to do or prepare them for battle. Imagine if they had cut to like Peli Motto and her slapstick droids for 3 minutes. You know what I mean? Right before that fight. Save that stuff for its own bit. Don't insert it in the middle of like dramatic moments. It's kind of like, there's like a tone issue. But again, even I recognize that's subjective. Like that is not the same as George Lucas inserting a Yuzum dance in the middle of a series. It's even this episode of Mando, which I've watched 2 more times because the wife wanted to watch it. It's not as bad as the special edition stuff, but it's not. And it's shot incredibly well, better, if that's a good phrase, than Kenobi.
Yeah.
So like, I get, this is the problem when you have like the Boba Fett and the Kenobi 1-2 punch, and now we're all living in the shadow of like questionable decisions and tone and stuff, right? But I bet Kenobi had been a slam dunk critical success amongst fans or whatever, no one would be having this conversation, But
I don't know. I mean, there was and another article that I thought I had lined up, but I can't find it now. There's like 15 articles today, so whatever, I lost one. But it's Jon Favreau, and he's speaking about Andor, and he's like, Andor did a great job. Andor is really good. He's like, but one of our main characters is a puppet. You know what I mean? And it's like, have some fucking like sense. One of the main principal cast members is a fucking puppet. Who do you think it's for? Do you really think it's for the Andor audience? Yeah, everything is for me.
It's for me. Like, kids don't give a shit about puppets. They're into NFTs and Web3. They're not in right, Azzatru?
No, it's the other
He's
way.
busy right now making NFTs. Hold on. Don't bother. Don't bother.
I think it's the guys at Collider that are into NFTs.
He's mid-journeying the next Star Wars game as we speak, right? And you look at that.
Or people as soon as that started like taking off, they were doing that with Battlefront 3. Like, this is what would be like. I'm like, oh, stop it.
Have you ever thought to try to run Midjourney or Dolly to get it to generate PS2 level screens so you could put up a fake Battlefront 3? Stuff. You know what I mean? You can just put up, but retro shit, not new screens, like old PS2 era. Can it do that? Sure, it could do that. Right?
I think I actually saw something the other day. It was like some like PS2 specific like screenshots of a game or something. But yeah, I can imagine people doing stuff like that for April 1st. Oh, the people are gonna have a field day with that on April Fool's Day with fake nonsense.
Yeah.
When Jason and I.
At this point, though, if you're still falling for April Fool's Day jokes, it's on you. What sucks is when they do the April Fool's Day joke, though, and then they like leave it up, and then somebody sees it like 4 days later, and like, oh, here, look at this, you guys, and it's like, nah.
I was having fun like 2 summers ago when that face replacement app was big on phones for a summer. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And so you could put your photo into like a clip of Batman or something. And so I just took endless clips of Masters of Terraskasi and Soul Calibur, like in 97 to 99 level games, and put me and my friends' faces on the model. I just had it poorly, and it would remap it just like a shitty, late 90s era texture map. It looked like a perfect dark. I did that. Like that I like. I like that level of. Can we go back to that? I know you would hate it, Azzatru, but I think we should. We should go back to that. Your game won't cost $70. It'll be on a budget. Don't have to worry.
They would still charge us $70.
Here's the thing. Well, look, Star Wars Squadrons was $40. People took that as it's a bad thing.
Right. They did. No, you're right. It's only worth $40. This must be cheap. Like you fucking. What do you want?
One of the most polished recent Star Wars games. It had enough content to justify the cost. It was on sale fairly cheap, like a week or so later. But no, that's a bad thing because it wasn't the full 60. Like, whatever they do, it's something. There's a conspiracy behind it.
Yeah. That's I definitely got $70 worth of value out of that game too.
It annoys me when people were complaining about Lego Star Wars, right? Lego Star Wars was a full price. Actually, it wasn't really full price. It was, at least in Europe. Lego games, especially in the UK, tend to be a lot cheaper because they sell really well here. So, and like for families, they always like put it. It's like £45 as opposed to like say $55 for everything else. And the game came out, and then it sold really well, and then probably a week or so later, you could find it like £5 cheaper. And Lego games have always gone down really quickly in price. Well, people were complaining that it's already gone down really cheap. Like, you've completed it. You've had your money's worth. Like,
I got $70 worth out of Bombad Racing. All right, you can have fun with any game if you know how to have fun. So like,
that's why you're always so fucking touchy about the Star Wars stuff. Because you got $70 for value out of Bombad Racing.
And
no, that's why you're mad.
At least the aliens didn't speak English.
I'm gonna get to the super chat. But
sorry.
Meg says, Jason, I recognize the thumbnail. I stole today's picture from Meg's Discord, which is a good Discord. And if you guys want to hear about Meg's sex doll, she's bought a sex doll. I think she said that she bought I think she said it was life size. I don't know if she said it was life size, but she's definitely said that she bought a Bo-Katan doll. And I asked how wide the mouth opens, and she hasn't answered yet. So if you join Meg's Discord, you could get that answer. I think. No promises though. So, and then how is Mando off to a rocky start? And I gotta say, I don't think it's off to a rocking start. I watched it like 5 times. I think it's really good. I think
they should never let the kid speak though. The minute he speaks, he's got that little lisp. I'm like, the kid in the water, the baptism kid.
I watched the opening scene. I don't even know what that little fucker said.
The little fuck, yeah. He goes, and you're like, shut up.
Really? Yeah.
Shut up. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. Sorry, kid. You're picking on kids.
No, and then, well, I mean, he's Jimmy Kimmel's nephew, so he's probably loaded. So fuck him. Robert, I'm kidding. Robert St. Clair says, I definitely remember when Collider went all deep fake, and I'm pretty sure Mark Fernandez blocked me on Twitter for calling him a stupid asshole. Good time. Wow. I don't know who that is, but sounds like fun times.
When I went to Collider once, right, to see the Schmodown, Mark came out to, greet me and the 3 people, and he goes, "Well, who's this guy? Like, who the LA thing when they want to know who the fuck you are, kind of thing." And Dorian's great. He worked there. He goes, "Friend of Schnepp." He goes, "Oh," and then but if I had said concept artist on he wouldn't give 2 fucking shits. It's that LA shit. He's that classic kind of LA fake bull. I don't fucking like it. I've met him. I don't like him. So that's it. Okay. I don't like what he did to the channel. Whatever.
Yeah. I don't know any of them, so I don't give a shit. Sounds
and
good
he's
to
a
me,
blockchain. Though. He's a crypto fucking mog dude. So
see, so stop saying it's Azzatru because it's not Azzatru. He's not a crypto.
No, Azzatru's getting it on the ground floor right now. I heard he's doing all the NFTs for Square Enix. Right? They got a new CEO. They got they got the Gaijin going in there, hooking it up.
Did you hear that guy is like the guy that was behind all the NFTs? So,
yeah. I listened to Young Ye fucking break it down. Yeah, and Young was like, "Yeah, we're all just as bad as the fucking." They got a more experienced douchebag in charge of Square. That's great.
Frog Eater, thank you for the super chat. $4.99 super chat says, "What's going on with Disney Plus's Lando series?" From Haunted Mansions, Justin Simeon. Canceled as Giant Freaking Robot claims or delayed to 2025. So it's one of those projects where because they paid to have a draft written or a script done doesn't mean it's been greenlit. That's one of the things that Star Wars fans, myself included, sometimes forgets, is that just because they announce the intent to do something, it doesn't mean it's actually been greenlit, even though they shouldn't even announce something that isn't greenlit. And then, but the real holdup seems to be Donald Glover, who's got a insanely busy schedule developing shows for other platforms than Disney Plus, and then he's going on a year-long tour for Childish Gambino and releasing a record. So I don't see it as being even viable to film until after that tour. That's just my guess. So if I were betting right now, I would say 2025 would be the latest we would see it, and 2026 would probably be the most realistic time for it to possibly come out, which is like 3 years from now. If we give them a year to write it, a year to film it, and remember but I think almost no matter what, it's 3 years away is my point though.
I think it's more likely whatever they wrote ends up as a filler series of episodes on the Bad Batch season 20. I don't think this is ever going to happen.
No, it's not. If the Lucasfilm Story Group wrote the episodes and it was a writer's room for a TV show, but I'm pretty sure that Donald Glover is writing on it. And if that's true, if that's where it goes, then it'll be his thing. But when he needs it, and when they're down to make it, and that's like the whole question. Because on one hand, too, the other side of this is like, at some point, Donald Glover's older than Billy D when he was Lando. You know what I mean?
That's why I said I don't think it's happening.
Yeah. But
sorry.
Also, when that was announced, Disney Plus hadn't lost cricket yet. And that's one of the other things.
That isn't a figure of speech. They literally lost cricket.
They literally lost cricket.
Yeah.
And when they lost cricket, they lost a lot of money, lost a lot of subscribers. But fans don't seem to understand the difference that when they lost those 2 million subscribers, it wasn't because of the woke agenda of the Little Mermaid or something. It has nothing to fucking do with it. It has to do with
it requires reading. It requires reading past the headline.
Yeah, requires reading past the headline.
It requires a bit of brain power.
Says the guy making clickbait thumbnails. You know what I mean? Go,
oh, come on. He doesn't do that. He's one of the good guys. Why are you busting with the only good guy in the whole game's balls right now?
I know, but I just don't trust good people.
That's fair.
I'm American.
They go back. They eventually go back. No. But no, anyways, Frog Eater. Yeah, Giant Freaking Robot is not an outlet that usually has. I think Giant.
I feel like everything they've said about Star Wars recently has just been wrong.
It's always been fan math, at best.
What else have they said? Just so does anybody remember? Like, I'm just curious.
It's like stuff that doesn't even get attention. Like, I'll see it on Star Wars leaks, and then no one.
It'll be like, there's a Bo-Katan series, and she's gonna be a Ranger of the New Republic. Or something like that. I'm not saying that's what they did, but it's stuff like that. And then you go and you see what the actual plans for Bo-Katan are and have been this whole time. And you're like, oh, that was never true. She was never going to be a Ranger.
No, Jason, I pitched a whole series. I pitched a series about Pele's mojo. How she was all sleeping with that Jawa and stuff out in the desert. It's the best. It's going to be like Burning Man, but with Pele mojo or whatever. It's going to be her mojo. It's going to be good.
Pele mojito. All right, that's fair.
I want a mojito. I'm gonna give him a mojito.
And then
love you.
Frog Eater gave us another 499 super chat, so thank you very much. Said,
thank you.
I think Ahsoka will be the series that balances story and lore without one overshadowing the other and fit familiar characters in the story where it makes sense. Yeah, that's so. What you're hitting on right now is something that keeps making me laugh because fans have already taken for granted that like Sabine Wren is in the show, that Hera Syndulla, she's in the show, and that it just kind of goes like Chopper is in the show, and people keep going like, and then we know that Hayden Christensen is in the show, and so and then it's the continuation
should be a
of Star
song.
Rebels. Rebels.
In the show, not in the show.
You're in the show. It's in the show. It's like the Key and Peele sketch.
Masamada, not in the show.
Yeah, it's in the movie. But I love that so much. The Gremlins 2 sketch. If you've never seen it, look it up. It's so good. So, anyways, that's the whole thing. Is like cameos keep coming up, and it's just like there's not gonna, I'm not saying that there won't be any more cameos. There could be. I have no idea if there are more. But it's like, do you even need it with the amount of stuff that we're actually getting? And then I think you're right, though, in terms of like lore, it's going to be the show. Like everybody keeps making those space whales seem like they're the most important thing that happened in that episode of The Mandalorian. And I'm going to be honest with you. I like seeing those stupid space whales, too. It made me happy. But what bearing on the narrative of The Mandalorian season 3, episode 1 did it bear? Absolutely fucking zero. It gave absolutely nothing to the show whatsoever,
except Jason, it showed that if Grogu could talk, he'd be like, "There's fucking whales out there, goddamn whales! The fuck is that?" Yeah, I love it when he crawls back in his lap, and then he's like looking up, like, "What the fuck is?" Like shit's still out there.
Yeah.
All right,
but. Anyways, yes. I mean, it didn't, but it was like that's like a thing where you have like lore, and then fans who are really into Rebels and that kind of stuff are like flipping out about it. But that's where the Ahsoka series I think is going to bring all of that stuff in, but it's going to repurpose it. I don't think it's going to come right out and be like
time traveling werewolves.
Well, it's not going to be. They're not going to ask Rob to go watch Star Wars Rebels. What they're going to do is they're going to.
I'm not watching Star Wars Rebels either.
Neither is Azzatru.
Fist bump. Yeah, right, you're back. You're back. Right. Hey. We lost you there for the crypto, but you're back.
But what they're going to do though is they're going to reintroduce what we saw that was so special about those space whales. They're going to put it into the show, and then so the people that are into that deep lore are going to be completely elated. Because they're going to be like, oh, it's acknowledging this thing that I love. but it's also just going to be repackaging it to some extent. Same thing with the World Between Worlds. They're going to have to like straight up go out there and do some new exposition for what that is and why they fucking with it. You know, I mean, when you get down to it, that's and that's good though. And because if you're really into Star Wars Rebels or you're really into lore, it's going to actually probably grow the lore somewhat in the new explanation. Like when you define the World Between Worlds 2 times on screen, well, that's the clearest depiction of it we're ever going to have.
Zelda already did this. The Link Between Worlds, right? Yeah, you can play baseball. You can play baseball with Space Worlds. One of the best mini games in a Zelda game ever, baseball.
Oh.
Grogu can become a painting.
I started playing that next to new Pokemon game yesterday. I kind of like it. The one that's kind of like Breath of the Wild. Anyways.
Oh, the one that runs at 15 frames per second?
That's like
you're part of the problem, Jason. You're part of the problem.
What do you want me to do? How can I make it run faster? I don't know how.
I don't have answers. I just want to complain. This is the internet. Like, we're not here to solve problems. You don't get views with that. What are you doing?
But the Ahsoka series will be probably the show. I'm not saying it's going to successfully push people into looking up the deeper Star Wars material. I'm not saying it's going to do that, but if one ever was, that's going to be the one where you're like, who the fuck is that character? Who the fuck is they mentioned Kanan? Who the fuck is Kanan? Like that kind of stuff. That's where you're going to go. Oh, and by the way, that Freddie Prinze Jr. goes and says that Dave Filoni directed the Vader scene in Rogue One. And I'm like, fucking, are you serious? Because like I had people on that set. And so I'm like, you know what I mean? I'm like, nobody told me that Dave Filoni was directing it. Like, what the fuck is going on? And it turns out that was, I don't know what he was on about.
No, I did. I had my action figures out. I was right on the side. I just put. Now I like the powers of the Force Vader because he's all big and bulky. You know what I'm saying, Jason? So
Dave, what do I always tell you, Dave? Because I know what happened here. I always tell you don't have to lie to kick it, bro.
No, that's not true. It's LA, baby. You got a lot to get everything around here.
You saw Freddie Prinze Jr., Buffy was there, and you were like, I'm going to make up some story. I directed the Darth Vader scene from Rogue One. That's what you did.
How'd you know?
Yeah.
I challenged him in a cook-off with John, and Freddie kicked his ass. He can really cook. He's a barbecue fiend. All right, I got to go. Love you, everybody.
Bye. Get the fuck out. Get.
Peace out, bud.
He needs therapy, man.
Well, what I'll say about the space whales is that they didn't just do like space whales in the background, is that they framed it contextually within Grogu's reaction to seeing something he didn't understand. And like a cameo, anything you do is great so long as it's rooted into like a human experience. If it was just space whales are there and they flew by it, and okay, who cares? But because you legitimately have a character you know and care about, like non-verbally reacting to like, what the fuck is that? And then running to his dad. It does two things at once. It, shows the character, treats Mando like a father figure, right? That plays there. So if you don't know anything about the space whales, you just think there's fucking living creatures out in the hyperspace tunnel. I didn't know that. Like you don't have to know what you're seeing to understand the scene.
And I would also say like it doesn't really, like I said, it doesn't really matter to the actual narrative, but in terms of the world building of the two father and son going out into the abyss of space and what's going to happen, it definitely contributes to a vibe and an atmosphere.
Yeah.
So I don't hate it or anything like that.
My wife had no clue what those whales were and didn't even bother asking. She just thought it was a cool scene.
Yeah. No, and when there's a chance if she watches Ahsoka, if she does that one, that she's like, oh shit, like those are those things. Maybe she'll make the connection and it'll be fun. I don't know.
She doesn't even know.
Yeah, well, it's not out yet, so she doesn't need to follow stuff till it comes out, right? It's kind of how it goes with
maybe
normal people. Normal people don't anticipate things. They just kind of like, oh hey, guess what's out, and then they enjoy themselves.
Right.
But.
Normal people just accept when Azzatru puts up a video. They don't anticipate it. Whereas we have a countdown clock.
Yeah, well, we're doing a behind the scenes right now.
Get to work. You got to beat that clock, Azzatru. You're not working fast enough.
Frog Eater, thank you for another 199 super chat. Says Banderas should play Hondo Anaka in Skeleton Crew. Oh, that would be a pretty good one, but a waste of that face, a waste of that pretty face, I'd say.
Put some boots.
Antonio, unless if we're talking about Antonio Banderas, right? Not just some guy named Banderas. So yeah,
no, my buddy Banderas. Yeah, he's my Uber driver.
I keep hoping that Hondo Anaka shows up. Like there was a bunch of pieces that were Hondo Anaka clues for Skeleton Crew. But when we saw the Weequay pirates and stuff like that in this last episode of Mandalorian, I was like, man, you know, if those are the ones from Skeleton Crew, then I'm like, I'm a little less confident on Hondo showing up.
We got a retired bulldog boy. Like
bulldog.
No, I'm not a fan of Dog Boy.
Barada, you don't like Barada?
No, not a fan of it.
And then he asks, any updates on a droid story on Bad Batch so on a droid story, on a droid story, we know that if they were filming stuff with Anthony Daniels at Pinewood for a time, and Bespin Bulletin had the article on that, but then it just like goes dead. It just goes quiet. And it's being, it's a VR sort of produced game, not game, but show. And it's a collaboration. So I think that just makes it a really hard one to get any information on if it's even still filming. And then Star Wars Santa, he had heard that Bad Batch season 3 was happening, and it makes sense. And so there is going to be, I believe, a season.
Seasons 3, 4, 12, 15. Tons of story, Jason. Tons.
Yeah.
Can't wait. Can't wait. Thanks.
And then Thanura gives a $2 super chat and says, anyone know if Tamara will be in the Ahsoka show? So when it comes to Tamara Morrison, like, honestly, I don't have anything on Tamara Morrison having done anything since Book of Boba Fett for Star Wars.
Not even Aquaman too?
I don't know. Probably, but I don't know.
He's actually been doing quite a few things since coming back for Mando. He's got into stuff, but I was hoping he'd be at Celebration so I could get a picture with him, but he's not on the list. He's been to every other celebration for a long time, and I thought, because he was really cheap 2019. He hadn't been in it. This was obviously before it'd been revealed to be in Mando. And I was like, even if it goes up like double, I want a photo with him because, like, I just think he's really cool. I'm a big clone guy from, like, not necessarily the animated show, but the films. And
right,
he's like the one that goes with, like, all the time with Anthony Daniels. He's everywhere, and he's not there this year. So
yeah. I mean, he's a big part of the whole franchise in terms of, like, Jango Fett, Boba Fett, Clone Troopers, like,
he's literally the most famous face in the galaxy at that point. So,
and we like him. He's just a good dude.
Yeah,
he was in a shitty show, but he's a good guy.
Hey,
what?
Hey,
I'm sorry about that. Waste of his talent, man. I'm sorry. Love him in that Mando episode.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Aquaman.
That's a shitty movie.
Yeah, I kind of was shitty, but it was kind of cool. He got to bang Nicole Kidman and make Aquaman. Like, just as a man, I'm just saying. Like as a man, being able to, bang Nicole Kidman and make Aquaman in the process, that's a pretty cool, feat on screen.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you for clarifying that.
So Bespin Bulletin has this article. Jon Favreau confirms The Mandalorian Season 4 is in pre-production. The Star Wars series Ahsoka and Skeleton Crew might have character crossovers. Now, we kind of skipped some things on this one when we covered it before, so I'm kind of retreading a little bit. He brought it up. He's like, you might want to touch on that a little bit.
Dog Boy's going to be in both those series?
No, okay, wait, what the heck is going on? I've lost the ability to bring up this tab for some reason, but thank you to Bespin Bulletin. He messaged it to me, so I'm just going to read it from his message. So, okay, where'd it go? Here we go. Wait, we're talking about Ninja Turtles a lot today. So, okay, this is Jon Favreau talking to Screen Rant, And he said, the Ahsoka series is a big part of what's happening in this time period. The question is, how do the different stories like Skeleton Crew and the Book of Boba Fett overlap? That's something I think that's going to be ever evolving. But there are strong stories that are being built concurrently within that world. So the big key here is concurrently in that world. And there was a part in this where so though many quotes can be found online at this, though many cannot be found online at this time, this is from Bestman Bulletin, we'll have to take the word of a Twitter user who attended the event, Saif Zaki. Zaki shared that the Mandalorian creator reaffirmed that the fourth season of the series had already been written, something Favreau revealed mere days ago. But this time he's revealed that the fourth season is already in pre-production, and as shared, that he was currently in the process at art created by Doug Chang for the fourth season. And once again,
Thanks, Doug.
That's like kind of, I mean, it's probably true to some extent, but it's also a lot of bullshit because they're already making stuff. The news arrives days after MakingStarWars.net reported that The Mandalorian Season 4 is already in pre-production and that the series was aiming to start filming this coming October. And it'll be like
when they usually do it.
And once again, you'll start seeing in September. They'll say it's filming, but it's going to really be October. In addition to discussing The Mandalorian, Favreau also briefly spoke about two series he's executive producing alongside his writing partner, Dave Filoni. Favreau confirmed that both series he's executive producing, Ahsoka and Skeleton Crew, are still in post-production, which isn't much of a surprise given Ahsoka only wrapped in November and Skeleton Crew last month. Favreau revealed that both Ahsoka and Skeleton Crew would take place during the same time period. However, as we don't have a direct quote from Favreau, we can only go off the tweet provided by Zaki, and it's unclear if Favreau is just referring to the broad time in which the Mandoverse takes place, or if Ahsoka and Skeleton Crew take place at the same time, running concurrently. So right here, he's kind of saying in that quote,
no, it all happens in real time.
Kind of. When you get down to it, kind of. The most interesting tidbit from Jon Favreau came when he was discussing Ahsoka and Skeleton Crew, as he revealed that the series may have character crossovers once again. And this ties into what was being asked by the Frog Lady. We're only going off a single tweet by an attendee of the Empire event, so we have no additional context for this tidbit. But if true, then I find this quite exciting. In a past report from MakingStarWars.net, it was mentioned that Ahsoka and Skeleton Crew take place in either a new part of the galaxy we've previously not seen on screen before, or a new galaxy as a whole where the Force is viewed differently. Within the report, it was mentioned that Ahsoka Tano could appear in Skeleton Crew, so instantly my mind goes there. Or it could be supporting characters found at locations in which the series share. Though Ahsoka and Skeleton Crew appear to have some sort of fun crossover, Favreau did say that both were written as stories that could be viewed individually. But watching both series, along with The Mandalorian, would deepen your appreciation for all of the series involved. So
deepen.
Yeah, it does. I mean, you see,
it doesn't matter because they're going to show you right before that episode starts all the things that you should have seen in that other episode, and then during the series they're going to reiterate the things that you already saw in the previously scenes. Just to drive home, how you didn't actually have to watch all of it. We're gonna.
You know what? Sometimes before you get laid, you get a little picture sent to you, and you're like, "That's cool," but it's not the same, Rob. It doesn't count. It doesn't count as much. It counts a little bit less. But it's still fun.
Boomer.
Jon Favreau confirms The Mandalorian Season 4 is in pre-production. Wait, is this the same article? I think this is the same article.
Yeah, it's the same article.
Okay, so that shit just opened up twice. Okay, here we go. This is one I should probably do later, but Force powers and a new Star Wars skin are coming to Fortnite Chapter 4 Season 2. Ooh. And then so you could give Bestman a coffee, and you should if you read his site. I will give him one soon. I gave him one recently, but I'll give him another one. Port down his.
Can I just give him a
throat.
Fortnite skin?
Give him a 40. Let's give him a 40. The new season of
put in your message for your coffee. Don't spend it on Fortnite skins. Make sure you can promise that. That's what I put in my message.
I think I was hanging out with him. He's like, "Hey, I just got a coffee from Azzatru." He said, "I can't spend it on a Fortnite skin." I was like, "He's not the boss of you." The new season of Fortnite is just around the corner, and it appears that a new and exciting collaboration with Star Wars will be part of the upcoming season. Multiple data miners have discovered that one new skin, as well as force powers, something that's not been a part of the Star Wars collaborations, will be debuting this season. The current force powers we know of thanks to data miners are Force Life, Force Jump, Force Lightning, Force Pull, Push, Rip, Script, Vacuum. The Force will reportedly be added alongside lightsabers, an item that's made its way into Fortnite multiple times. Fortnite also is set to release one skin alongside the collaboration, which is currently in the files under the codename Plot Twist.
Force farts.
No additional details are available on the mystery skin at this time. Some fans have speculated that the skin, based on the codename, could be none other than Anakin Skywalker, given the infamous plot twist that revealed Darth Vader to be the father of Luke Skywalker, destroying Luke's belief that his father, Anakin Skywalker, was slain by Darth Vader based on what his mentor, Obi-Wan Kenobi, had told him. However, I personally don't believe the skin is Anakin Skywalker, though I want it to be with all my heart. Instead, I think it's going to be a skin for Cal Kestis. And I tend to lean on it being Cal Kestis. I think I messaged you as a true.
Yeah.
I was like, would they do Cal Kestis in?
So, from what I've seen, it's actually going to be. I don't know if things have changed. I was looking at this earlier, but apparently there's going to be 2 male skins, not one.
Okay.
I think one could be Anakin. So it's really strange because Epic actually sent out surveys for characters they'd like to if what people would like to see, and this is the list that they sent out last year: Lando, Zalbar, Carth Onasi from KOTOR, R2D2, C3PO, Star Wars Visions as a generic thing, Admiral Akbar, Anakin, R2D2, and Ezra. Now, people are reading into the code names, plot twist being Anakin, but from what I've read, the code names for Fortnite stuff doesn't mean anything. Like, they're random. Like the other one they have is Cirrus Vine. So it's like, what, I don't know whatever that is.
It's Gordian Shard's nephew.
Well, with
Shard.
With Force Lightning coming into the Force powers that are going to be in there, it makes me think Palpatine, and Palpatine is also
everyone's saying Palpatine, but I feel like there's going to be 2 apparently. So I feel like Cal will be one, and the other will be either Anakin or Palpatine. Now, the reason for Cal makes a lot of sense. Yeah. They did a pre-order bonus for Fallen Order. If you pre-ordered Fallen Order on Epic Games, you got the Stormtrooper skin. That was the only way to get the Stormtrooper skin for a very long time. And then if you pre-ordered Star Wars Squadrons on the Epic Store, you got the glider, X-Wing glider. And it seems like EA do a lot of bonuses with the Epic Store. Even that they've got their own store, they actually work with Epic quite closely with their releases. So I could totally see them doing Cal as like if you pre-order Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor on the Epic Store, you get Cal.
Right. Yeah,
and that's what they're going. Like, that would just boost so many pre-orders for the game up just to get that skin.
And then that would piss me off so much because I already pre-ordered it somewhere else.
Yeah,
where I would have if there was a pre-order pack-in or bonus.
To be fair, his skin's quite a Stormtrooper's iconic, but I guess it's kind of like a simple skin. And they gave it, so maybe it'll be still purchasable elsewhere, but the timing seems to line up pretty well with Survivor was meant to release this month, so it definitely works pretty closely with that. A lot of people are saying Mando. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter say it's going to be like Grogu, the Mac and stuff, but
I think that's going to happen. But I can
see that happening, but as a skin, I don't know. I do think it's probably going to be like Anakin or Palpatine and then Cal. But
let's be honest, you don't want the Grogu thing to happen until he gets the mech suit. Because then you can get the mech suit Grogu in Fortnite,
Of course.
right?
Well,
Right.
Grogu's already in Fortnite, so the only thing that they could do with Grogu is change the pram. That's
The
lame.
mech suit.
Nobody's gonna care about that.
I also
So
can't
mech
imagine
would be
it.
next.
The files are going to be out there. It's not something they want to get leaked. Like I know you've leaked it, but like
Yeah.
it's a kind of an underground thing compared to Fortnite. So it's not going to be something they want to have any chance of leaking.
Of course.
So.
Yeah. So Bespin says, my reasoning for Cal Kestis is quite simple. Star Wars Jedi Survivor will release during the same time in which Fortnite's next season runs. Typically, Fortnite seasons run for around 3 months, meaning its upcoming season will begins on March 9th, will likely end in June. Currently, Mandalorian is airing, and having a skin to tie with the popular series would be a no-brainer. I love a Bo-Katan Kryze skin, but based on the collaboration introducing force powers, it's highly unlikely that the collaboration is with Mando. The Ahsoka series is set to release in the fall, according to the series lead Rosario Dawson, at least 3 months after the end of Fortnite's next season. So this rules out Anakin Skywalker's former Padawan. This leaves us with a collaboration of Star Wars Jedi Survivor, as the title is set to be released in the middle of Fortnite's next season on April 28th. And he goes on to say, in Survivor's predecessor, Fallen Order, we saw Cal learn a multitude of force powers, which is likely a reason as to why the new Fortnite collaboration is introducing force powers into the game this time around. Personally, I'm not over the moon at this collaboration. Yeah, I think having force powers in the video game for time having lightsabers rangers is exciting, but I'm disappointed that we could be getting Cal Kestis skin over more iconic heroes or even collaborations with live action television series. Lucasfilm and Epic skipped adding any content based on Andor, and now it appears that the collaborators are now choosing to skip the Mandalorian Season 3 content in favor of Jedi Survivor, at least at this time.
EA's got that money.
Two things about... Well, my son is probably more excited about Cal Kestis coming into Fortnite than he is anything else. But I would also just throw it out there that in the past, like the last collaboration was Han, Luke, and Leia, for no reason.
Yeah, that
Just
didn't really
for
make
no reason.
sense. Like the Fallen Order pre-order was a big push, even though it was a stormtrooper, which relevant to Fallen Order, but it like wasn't Cal, for example. Like I got paid to put that in my video. Like they like
I knew it.
They was like, just promote it, like get everyone to pre-order it on the Epic Game Store. I'm like, okay, and it's like super relevant to my channel, and like, but they was really pushing that hard, like just to get this stormtrooper skin that you had to pre-order Fallen Order in the game. So I can imagine EA just be like, yeah, got to get those numbers up.
Yeah, and it would probably honestly please that audience more than Emerald Akbar. I would be really happy though.
A lot of them have been like, it was really random. Like they've got a bunch of KOTOR characters, Star Wars Visions, the droids make sense, yeah, but like it was just a really weird selection. I mean, they do that with the surveys, but it was just a bit of a surprise. I mean, Anakin was like the one that makes the most sense. Like I think that would be the character that you could see that like, everyone would be using Anakin.
And I don't know if they ever look back on stuff like holistically, but there is a lack of villains in the big. I mean, I guess Boba Fett's kind of a villain, but not really. When you get down to it, you got Vader, a stormtrooper, a Sith stormtrooper, and Kylo Ren, and it's like
yeah,
and then you got some gray characters and a lot of heroes. So I could use some more bad guys personally. Rule Formboy says, I have to think the Bad Batch Season 3 is getting worked on now. Lucasfilm told us they were finishing Season 2 when they first aired Season 1. Oh, yeah. Like I think Season 2 was likely done for quite a while before they actually put it out, or was close to done and just going through like revisions. Frog Eater's 499 Super Chat. Thank you again, Frog Eater, for all the support today. Any info on potential plans from Disney and Lucasfilm for the Clone Wars 15th anniversary? Like maybe one on-scene Cad Bane Boba Fett release as Disney Plus film. No, I don't think that we're going to be going back to the Clone Wars content in that way anytime soon. There's something else coming down the road that is either Tales of the Jedi 2 or something that's equivalent of more Tales of the Jedi, and I don't know that many details on it. I don't really even plan on talking about it until you just asked. And for the 15th anniversary of Clone Wars, I'm not sure if they're going to celebrate it. I mean, I wouldn't be mad if they did, but I don't know if they're going to.
And why would they?
Now, and the other thing is when it comes to because it literally kept Star Wars alive, and it's one of the hugest things that actually happened. Just because Rob doesn't like it.
That's why you don't talk about it.
No, that's
it's smart business.
It's because they don't really they go with the big anniversaries. They don't really go with like the mid ones too much. Like Return of the Jedi's 35th anniversary, not really that big a deal, but for the 40th, they're putting it in the theater again. So this April, I think.
Sorry.
28th.
It also seems. Yeah, it also seems like it's only just been the film.
You are mad that Return of the Jedi is coming out in the theater again.
It's the special edition version, right?
Oh yeah, like the
sorry
version I've seen.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, I'm sorry. You got to sit through.
It's fine.
No, it's not. Stop. Azzatru. Stop. You're losing points. Hold on. I gotta keep tally.
For the added ending to Return of the Jedi, I think that ending is better. I'll take that Yanni song over.
And Hayden Christensen as Anakin.
Yeah.
Anyone who says
it makes no sense. Makes no sense.
I don't care. It's perfect.
I know you don't.
In a perfect world, though, I know they would film Hayden now, because Hayden's the exact age he should be in that shot if he was the age of when he died. Come on, guys. He's just there. Just get him. He's just hanging out. Just like, stand here and smile. They're like, okay. Froggy Eater asked about the 15th. Yeah, I haven't heard anything about the 15th at this point. And then the Cad Bane Boba Fett thing, I feel like that was moved into Book of Boba Fett. So in a weird way, I think that might have put the kibosh on that ever being a thing, in my opinion.
I've seen some people saying how May 4th's going to be big this year, and I'm like, no. I keep telling you every year.
Say that, don't they? Don't they?
They're like, something's coming. There's going to be something. Like
they don't care.
I'm like, no. Every time I mention it in the video, I'm like, it's going to be discounts. It's going to be merchandise that has already been revealed
T-shirts
or leaked. Literally, it's going to be a Lego set that.
What happens leaked. The week before May 4th?
Disney Plus Day?
No, Summer Celebration.
Okay.
Well, a month before, and then Jedi Survivor's the week before.
Yeah,
I still see people. They should have delayed Survivor another week, and I'm like, no, don't delay it another week. No, it's a stupid day. Just get it out when it's ready, and it
also shows when people say that how little they understand putting things in stores works. You can't just. It's very difficult to time delay anything. Even back in the day, a game console couldn't be synchronized on the same day perfectly. Some region somewhere would have it 6 hours too fucking early or 12 hours too late, or the weekend after because they didn't go to work on time or their manager was it's just funny, man. Like, would the game be any better because it came out on May 4th versus May 3rd, 11:58? Why? Like this is numerology nitwits. They should go hang out at Glennis McCants and put number 8s in their wallet while they're at it too. Like
it's gonna. They've already told us that Visions and that Baby Show are coming out on the same day on May 4th. That's already bigger than your general.
Fair. Like that's the sort of stuff. That's a fair. Like yeah. It doesn't need to be a brand new trailer or a new massive show announcement plus a game announcement. Like a lot of people expect games to be announced on May 4th. I'm like, it's literally never happened. They saved them for the actual relevant times, big game event or Star Wars Celebration. Like no one cares about May 4th when Star Wars Celebration's a month before. Like that's where the people are expecting stuff. Like it was like last year, Celebration was the end of May. And everyone was expecting Jedi Survivor to be announced on May 4th. We didn't even know the name of the game. They just waited till Celebration. Like, obviously they waited for Celebration.
Yeah.
Fucking Star Wars wasn't even released on May 4th, you nitwits. I don't know, man. Like, this is the stuff where I'm like,
but the day's a pun.
Nerds.
But the day is a pun.
It's like March 10th when they're like, what more news is coming out? Nothing. because they're sane. They're gonna go have a nice Japanese breakfast and get to work that day. They're gonna do nothing. You get nothing.
Nick said
day,
the
sir.
199 super chat, and Nick, I know that you have a lot of favorite content creators out there, and I just want you to know that it means a lot that I'm your favorite. And Nick goes on to give a 499 super chat, and that's in British pounds. That's more than dollars. Nick says, "Thank you to Bestman Bulletin. Here is 7 English pounds in total for you, Jason. The same amount of the goals a certain football team conceded yesterday. And whatever that football team is, that's my football team. 7 pounds. Yeah,
Fat ball.
That's a good one.
It's called fat ball.
Fat ball.
I can play it. Like it's
Frog Eater says, 199 super chat. Will we get a new Indy 5 trailer at Star Wars Celebration? I think there's a plan to do something for Indy at Celebration, but I haven't heard anything concrete about the next trailer or another trailer. But the fact that the movie comes out basically June 30th, I think it is, and Celebrations in April, I would not be surprised if we got a cut of what the final trailer will be, even if it doesn't release internationally at that point.
Frog Eater, if you want to have fun on the internet, just take whatever Jason just said and repeat it as fact and at James Mansgold on Twitter and just watch him erupt
don't do
flames.
That. Don't do that.
Who is this fucking Wards?
Yeah. They're like, you little fucking bitch. I'll be like, oh, shit.
Mansgold shows up at Jason's door.
Yeah.
What?
How'd you get that shiner? Mangold found out where I lived.
Like that time Hulk Hogan showed up with the black eye and tried to blame it on his jet ski 6 months earlier. Remember that time, WrestleMania 9? I remember.
And all I know is that today Iron Sheik did a poll, and it was, who's the bigger bitch, Hulk Hogan or Hulk Hogan? You know who I voted for? Hulk Hogan.
I love Iron Sheik.
Frog Eater, another 199 super chat. Thank you, Frog Eater. Says, what's going on with Rian Johnson's Star Wars trilogy? You know what's funny about that is I was having a conversation about that with somebody at old Lucasfilm, and my friend at old Lucasfilm, their opinion was we will see Rian Johnson directing on The Mandalorian much more likely before we see any films coming out from him at this moment in time. And they say they're in good conversation. They're in good, I don't know, cahoots isn't the right word, but they're solid. There's no bad blood. Like, there's certain people that have worked with Lucasfilm before who will obviously never work with Lucasfilm again, or maybe not obviously, but they're just not going to. They're not the people that are currently, that have no interest
Rick McCollum
getting back into bed with them. Rick McCollum fucking retired. I already married a hot chick in Prague and was like, fucking peace out, and living his best life. So good for him. But point being, yeah, I would. So that's something that seems a lot more likely that we're going to see Ryan doing an episode of
like Kathleen
like
has talked about him very recently, like how like she wouldn't talk about him in a positive light if there was no, like, she didn't want to work with more. Like, you know, it just makes a lot of sense. Like the stuff people they don't want to work with again, she wouldn't mention.
Yeah,
like Robert Rodriguez.
No, I don't know about that.
Haven't heard them say anything about him in a while.
No, it's been like I once Boba Fett came out, that's been a
interesting.
What's funny is whenever I talk to Lucasfilm cats in private, obviously, no one really is jazzed about the quality of Book of Boba Fett. Like no one's ever like, yeah, we fucking nailed it, you know, on the end at the end of the day. But
it's a bummer, man. Like, I've been a part of some things that don't come out the way you had intended to, you know? And it's not like you feel like, oh, it was all a waste of time.
Yeah.
It just feels like you can't, it's like you spend more time having memories of making the thing than enjoying the thing that was made, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I worked on some shit that came out that I fucking hated working on, and people hated it, and I'm like, yay. Like, they earned it. They earned that freaking loss. So
Every now and then I do think, like, with Book of Boba Fett, in the context of which it was made. Maybe if they do another one not in that context, maybe it'll work. Maybe with spending more time, not just it was just they just shot it really quickly and it was what it was.
And maybe don't let Favreau write every episode. Just putting that one out there.
I think, well, we'll have to see. We'll have to see how Mandalorian season 3 comes out in totality before we know. Was there a lot more Book of Boba Fett or not? Because if Book of Boba Fett is the outlier, then it's not Favreau's writing. But to some extent, like Favreau's writing is Favreau's writing. Frog Eater
Murder Favreau
says
Murder Favreau. Something Favreau. There. I got to work on that.
Okay, why are Disney and Lucasfilm once again doing the stupid fan alienating move of not live streaming any panels, big or small, from Star Wars Celebration Europe? Yeah, so this is the whole thing. Like every single person I've talked to says they're not doing it. We wrote the customer service. Darth Del Rio was the first one to do it. I followed suit to like get a second. You know, we both got the same answers back from them. And there's some people that don't believe that say it's just going to be announced the day before. And I say, I hope so. I hope that's true. But the company who's selling me the ticket and handling the lottery system, who's supposed to like be massaging the fact that I won't get into every panel that I want to get into, are also like the ones who are like, nah, they're not doing that. That's not a thing.
I'm wondering how it's going to be handled because the XL is obviously a lot smaller than the other convention centers. There's going to be less people. I feel like there's probably a good chance people are going to get into panels, probably. And also, in terms, if there is no live streaming, I've been to the XL for a few events, and the Wi-Fi there is really, really bad. Like
I heard it was Brexit.
We're not going to be able to like quickly stream stuff, upload stuff.
Yeah,
it's going to be a nightmare. I mean, there's no phone. It's really hard to get a phone signal as well. Like if you go outside, it's fine. And I did get like a 4G signal. Like I was able to do stuff, so I might be able to like record stuff and share stuff, but it's not good. And the annoying thing is, the last time I went in September, I was at a gaming event and I was at a booth live streaming. Like I was there to live stream for a company, and they had like fiber lines, all Ethernet, super fast. So they do have it. It's just not for the Wi-Fi. So they've got the capability of doing stuff like that, but yeah, because like the event I went to before, it was for a Formula E race. So they actually raced inside the XL. Like they went through it, and it's insane. Like it's a convention hall, but it becomes like the starting grid. It's insane. Like it's so cool. But like that had was on TV and everything. So facilities are really, really good. But yeah, it doesn't really make more sense.
And I don't know anything about that convention center, but like when it comes to like for instance Comic-Con, there's actually like places in Comic-Con that don't have the correct hookups to do the like live streaming from those certain rooms.
Yeah, it's really strange. Like I said,
and Anaheim is the same way.
The internet for actual businesses at like that event, it's really, really good. And they did a TV broadcast from there for like 3 days in a row. Like, so it's obvious they had the Olympics was there and stuff like that. So it's obviously fine, but it seems like it's a Lucasfilm decision. But yeah, getting stuff out there quickly is probably going to be a bloodbath because there's going to be so many people on the same Wi-Fi connection. I'll tell you, there might be a paid version that's a little bit quicker, so I might have to try that.
To complain about conventions not streaming, it always drive me nuts when BlizzCon would roll around and you'd have 23 hours dedicated to esports bullshit, playing like Warcraft, like classic, but not even 30 minutes, nothing devoted to like an actual art panel with the concept artists or anything, And you're just like, well, who programs this stuff? Like, no, we watch the esports. I'm like, not 15 fucking hours of it. Like it just goes on and on and on. So I mean,
we went to the Doug Chang panels and the ILM stuff at Chicago, and they were really good, but they weren't streamed. So there's like no
They never stream the R panels.
Yeah, but they were
yeah.
they were packed. Like the Doug one was packed. I think even the solo ILM one was also packed.
Yeah.
Pretty much every seat was sold out, and it was really good because like the panels that a lot of people don't think they'll go to or don't want to go to, and they ignore them. But then there'll be Anthony Daniels.
Anthony Daniels reads the phone book, and they'll stream that shit on a 24-hour loop. You know, and you're like, please stop, Anthony Daniels.
Well, it's always like a good time frame when there isn't much else going on. Like none of the big panels. It's like in the middle of the afternoon, and it's just they're really good. They should be streamed.
Yeah, when it comes to that thing, like my article's fucking very clear. I'm like, ReedPop's customer service is saying it's not happening, and so that's the story. If it ends up happening, ReedPop's customer service said it wasn't. So it's like, you know, it's like there's people like having this argument with me on Twitter that I'm not a part of, by the way. They're just having it, and it's just like, we'll see. I mean, I'm telling you what their service is saying. It's up to you what to think.
When I first saw it, I'll be honest. Usually, whenever someone customer service say something, I automatically assume it's the opposite because that tends, at least in like my realm, like especially like gaming and stuff, customer service is always wrong. Like they usually find out like last minute, but what they say before is wrong. So it could be. I feel like that's the situation. Them not having a single stream, given that there is likely going to be some announcements that need the exposure at Celebration, like Star Wars Hunters, for example. I know it's a bit of a meme, but I have a theory that's going to like get its like announcement, its release date at Celebration, for various reasons. Basically, my theory is they've delayed it so long because the EA license is going to expire in May.
Yeah,
what they've delayed it for is they're going to be able to put it on consoles after May. So instead of launching on the Switch and phones like a couple of months ago, just wait till May, and then they can release it on all platforms if that's what they've been working on. They had job listings for Xbox and PS4 developers. They're a mobile company. So I feel like that's what, maybe it's not going to be this half of the year. Maybe it's going to be late this year, but that makes a lot of sense. And have it at Celebration. Like there was at Celebration last year, they had a booth where you could go and play it. And like they had a big stand, they had a bunch of the developers there. Like that was really strange because it hadn't had like much public talk, but they had more presence than EA at Celebration because Jedi Survivor's trailer was just posted on the live stream. They didn't have.
Like, I got the APK and I uploaded. I loaded it into an Android emulator and I played it for a little while. Like last year.
I feel like this is the game that people like during this time when Mando's on, people would probably want to play that over Fortnite. The people that don't want to play Fortnite, like myself, I want to play a Star Wars game, not Fortnite.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's what they're waiting for. They're waiting to just being able to release it on console.
I wish they would just. I wish they had honestly just taken this and turned it into like a game, but that was like a permanent mode in Fortnite, like with Star Wars stuff on there, as opposed.
I just hate Fortnite's mechanics, like how it feels. Ever since I touched it,
have you played it? Have you? Yeah, it's so much better now.
No, you could dog shit. I played it a few months ago. I hate it. Like the gunplay,
like sliding and everything. It's so good.
No, it's so bad compared to every other sliding I've experienced in like Titanfall. Like they just copy Apex came out with these incredible innovative features for Battle Royale. What did Fortnite do? Copy them and make them worse. Like make a worse version. And it's like I just can't. I played Fortnite before it was Battle Royale when it was the Save the World thing.
Save the
like,
World, yeah.
The alpha and then the beta. And then I was like, because the idea I really enjoyed. And then I was like, oh, I hate this. Then I didn't care, and then it became Battle Royale. I was like, I'll try it, and I hated it. And the gunplay has been like my main issue. I've absolutely hated it. Like I think it's one of the worst playing games I've ever played.
It's getting first person. This
I tried. I've experienced like the first person on like certain AIs, but certain guns they had, and it just there's something about the game that feels fundamentally wrong. Like compared to every other game I play, there's just something that feels really off. And like,
it reminds me of Azzatru, and maybe you're too young for it, but Jason will get it. It reminds me of the going from Mario 64's 3D controls to Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider just didn't feel right. Like it felt to me like the world was moving and Mario wasn't. Like it just felt fundamentally different. I'm not saying it has the same feel, but these games just don't feel the same as.
It's because it was built. The game was made for something else, and they've just evolved it so much. And like they've added sliding, they've added reviving and pinging, but it's all worse versions of what Apex did. And when I play Apex a lot, it's just I just can't play Fortnite. But that's just
not for nothing, Jason. But my wife hates it when I pronounce it innovative. Like I love that version of it. That's how I say it. But she hates that. Yeah.
And unless you're from Nottingham, you get punched around here. These parts for things like
she did. She punched me right in the Nottinghams.
Tyrant says, Jason, that wasn't me disagreeing with you. Just me saying, oh yeah, no, I totally know that, dude. I was using what you said to get into what's been going on around that article. Yeah, and
it feels like Repop is like the one that does all the events, yet they seem to just be bad.
Every single time, it's like it's Repop's fucking first rodeo. Every single time. That's exactly how it goes.
Did they do Celebration in 2019?
Yes.
Or is right? Okay,
I believe they've done them all since 2015.
Okay.
I think it's about that.
I didn't really tell. But now they've bought up like a couple of other convention companies that do like UK events and like events I used to go to are all like Repop now. And I've not been to them, but it seems like there's always like issues. I don't know, for such a big company that is like the event company that do all these big events.
You would think it would be streamlined by this point, exactly how everything was going to go and would be smooth, but it never is. And
I mean, but if Lucasfilm wanted to, couldn't they just set up a satellite stream? Like, I mean, for the main stage, like if they were going to make a big announcement to have it, I mean,
I'm of two minds here. The first one is 3 minds. It's not happening at all. They just don't want to do it. Leave us alone. We don't want to talk to you. That's possible. Second thing is they're actually going to do that. And the third one is maybe they're making actual announcement videos that are going to be played at Celebration that will just show up on YouTube right after the announcements. And Patty Jenkins and her stupid fucking roller skates. Talk about the movie.
I do get the idea with a lot of the like certain actors and stuff not going for photographs and stuff. I wonder if like the production side of things, like they preferred, like they wanted like their production team to go over and it didn't work. I don't know, but it does seem like they're probably just like gonna make things as streamlined as possible and just get video. And to be honest, the videos will do far better than a live stream. Like that's just how it is. Like people don't like even if they actually had like all the like the good panels over the nonsense that they do stream sometimes. Because a lot of last year, it was like a lot of repeated segments over and over again. Because I was waiting for the Jedi Survivor section to drop, and it was just a lot of like stuff that was playing like the previous day and stuff. Because they weren't showing much else, and that was just like, oh, they had it on like the main stage, with all like the fans around, but like that was just played live on the stream, and then they uploaded it. And if there's gonna be any game announcements, I don't think there will be, but if they'll just say the day before there's an announcement and then drop the trailer on YouTube.
That's kind of what I expect. And there's a lot of people from some of those announcements that I don't know if they're gonna be able to make it to Celebration. So that's why I also think that those pre-made videos are somewhat more likely, than not. But that's just a guess. Frog Eater, thank you for the 199 super chat. Says I expect Ahsoka on Disney Plus August 2nd for the Clone Wars 15th. That's completely possible. I don't know if they completely have how that back end of the year is going to start looking, because like we know from Bestman Bulletin that's going to go Marvel, Star Wars, and Skeleton Crew. We are, I think, all in pretty much in agreement that it will be in December when it starts, if it makes this year, which it's supposed to. And if it does, it's going to be in December. So you got to give yourself 8 weeks of Ahsoka, unless they do something where they like double up like a big 2-parter or a 2-part finale or something like that. But I don't think that's in the plan, because the idea is to keep subscribers. And I think this 2-part, like they gave out 2 parts of Mandalorian to press, but they didn't give it to the general people. And why? Subscribers. That's my guess. And then Tyrant says Fortnite is C tier third person shooter. That timeline was PUBG that Fortnite copied the battle royale mode. It's true. I actually didn't play Fortnite at first because I was like, you're fucking ripping off PUBG. And then I was like, oh, this is way better than PUBG though. Then Apex came out. Yeah, but Apex is just like not as fun. That's the truth for me.
No. If it had Star Wars, if it had Indiana Jones, if it had every IP in pop culture, but that's not how. They created their own universe that have characters. They don't have to license everyone else's stuff.
Hey, Jonesy and Peely and Fishstick are fucking some of my favorite characters. You watch it. Reed Pop Tyrant informs us that Reed Pop took over Celebration. I think the second year of Disney. That sounds right. Because what happened was Mary left Lucasfilm for Reed Pop, and then that's when they got in bed with Reed Pop. Mary Franklin left Lucasfilm and became like the big wig at Reed Pop. Tyrant says they wanted to pick up a dead E3 show, and it's failing gloriously.
Yeah, that's what they've done this year.
Yeah, I miss when I used to go to E3 and they give me like fucking Super Mario radio control cars and they would lick my butt. Like that was so cool. Like when they
the whole experience of being online.
Give you Zelda shirts.
That, but
you and I went to two very different E3s.
Oh yeah,
you got Mario Karts?
Journalist. Yeah, they gave me like radio control Mario Karts. They gave me Zelda fucking T-shirts and like.
I went as journalist. I never got that shit.
I live with like a bag of fucking loot because you know why? It's that winning personality. No, I'm kidding. No, but that was
my winning personality. You dick. I heard that. I heard that.
I want to say, when did EverQuest 2 come out? That's when I reviewed EverQuest 2 for a website to get E3 access, and it worked. And
2006 or 7 or
first
something.
time I got super hooked up. And then by about the time of Star Wars is when it started to like be like, how about you give us money for stuff? And we're like, no, we're good. We're just gonna go home. But Rob, how it worked at PAX is that Reed Pop controlled the broadcasting streaming permissions for each panel. I was in games media at the time, and big panels would get shit rooms and no stream. And then he says respawn equals shitting all over your favorite game studio's best games. Just the facts. All right, that's fair.
I can go through the list of Survivor stuff now.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, I have a couple of stories, but we'll save them for tomorrow, and we'll get into Azzatru's list of Survivor stuff. So and that's Survivor the band, not the game. He's a big Survivor fan. He has been since he saw Rocky for the first time in 2004. No.
I was born then, but no, I was still very young. I hadn't even watched Star Wars at that point.
Oh yeah, was it Revenge of the Sith? Was that your intro?
I got into it in 2006. I knew of Star Wars, like I saw it like on like adverts and stuff, but I had an idea of like I knew the logo, but it was Lego Star Wars 2 that got me in 2006, and then that's how I got into it. So.
Yep. That's why I was shitting on that baby series coming out, but you never know what's going to be somebody's introduction to the stuff. You know, Lego Star Wars is a little bit more fun than that baby show coming out, though, I'll tell you that much.
All right.
Well, what do we got? Put it in my ear hole.
So all of February, IGN did loads of articles and videos with Respawn going over tons of stuff about the game, which is it's been done really well, to be honest. Because we got new gameplay. They showed us a lot without showing us too much. Like they showed us just pure combat, which is what we wanted to know, whilst giving us some details of stuff we also want to know. Specifically hitting all the points that most people had issues with the game, and they've basically gone and sorted them all. So it's basically full in order, but all of the issues people had fixed. So I know some people think it looks too similar, not too different, but come on, that's what people really want. They want the same, but
it's people remembering it being a better or perfect experience as opposed to like. And
I can understand like the graphics look, but like it already looked pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that it's still on Unreal Engine 4, it doesn't use much of the new technology. It looks fine. It's probably going to perform well.
they also like gave us the upgraded version on like Xbox. Like if you have the next gen X or the current gen now Xbox, then you got the game upgraded. I don't think that does that any favors of making it seem like it's
well. So the reason why they did that is they actually I read that in a magazine. They used that to work on this new game. So the original plan was to include ray tracing along with the extra performance, the resolution, stuff like that. Ray tracing they couldn't do because the art was too different. It was going to require way too much work. But they basically made that next gen version to help them make this game. So you get a free upgrade that more stuff for Fallen Order, whilst they were using that to help them make this game. So that was pretty good. And they learned a lot of stuff from it. So basically, on the character side of things, Bo Dakuna, the guy that we see in the trailer, Cal's companion, he's going to be the first character that you'll be playing with. So that indicates there's going to be someone else that's going to turn up, that's going to be fighting with you.
Wait, he's the first character who's going to fight with Cal, or the first character that we're going to be playing as the player?
Playing with.
Okay.
So basically, you know how in Fallen Order we had Merrin that helped us in the boss battle with Malicos doing her magic stuff? Is basically they took that and put it into like the game, and you're able to like tell him to do certain things. What's really cool is that he will, let's say there's a group of enemies and you go off and fight some, he will go and fight the rest. So, it's not just like a dumb AI that stands there. Like he's actually going to start fighting stuff. And a great example is that your attacks work with his. So he will do things based on what you do. So an example they said was if you force grab a probe droid and throw it into a group of enemies, the AI will shoot the probe droid to blow it up. So it's going to complement what you do in the game. So it's like he's not just going to be shooting the enemies. He's actually going to shoot stuff that you interact with. And he's also got a jetpack, and there's going to be areas that you can't get to without him. So he's going to you're going to hold on to him, and he's going to take you there.
He's going to grab you by your shirt.
So that adds. So the worlds are obviously far bigger. So there's going to be places that you can't get to without him. So like at the start of the game, he's not going to be there. You've got to meet him at some point. So there's going to be parts where you can't get to without him. I mentioned it before on the past show, but fast travel is confirmed, and they specifically said how it's going to work is each meditation point that you find in the game, when you go to meditate, you can pick a different meditation point to go to. So there's plenty, and whichever one you find, you can fast travel to. So it's not like there's not just like a random place. Like you don't just drop, I want to go randomly here. It's got to be a meditation point, but there's going to be plenty, I'm sure. And it just means when you find one, that's a new fast travel point. So if you want to go to a really specific area on the map because you've not explored that bit, you can just go from the beginning to there and then back. So that's cool. And another good thing is that the Mantis in the first game was the beginning of the level, and you'd have to traverse all the way through and then come all the way back. Well, they've basically placed the Mantis in the center of all the levels, pretty much. So the levels are around the Mantis. So the Mantis is in the middle. So the levels aren't probably going to be as deep, but it's going to be like a much wider net. So you don't have to go as far if you don't want to use fast travel, because they said they don't want to make you have to use fast travel. Like it doesn't have to be a crutch thing that you need. You can play the game without it, and you're going to easily be able to explore all the planets without having to use it. So the Mantis is sort of central, and everywhere else around it. So that's pretty good. I really like that.
I hated that in the original game, having to go all
so
the
you
way
get fast
back.
travel, and the Mantis is fairly central.
Yeah.
And there is going to be way more customization than people thought. There's going to be hairstyles. I know some people really didn't like Cal's hair in the first game. They don't like it in this game. But we only have one example. But one was that he gets a bandana and makes him look like Solid Snake. So there's going to be so there's stuff like that to change things up. They just released a video today showing off the deluxe edition bonuses. So Han Solo and Luke inspired outfits. And what goes further than I thought is that so Han and Luke have the yellow and hand jacket, and then they've got the shirt underneath, and then the trousers. The shirt isn't tied to the jacket. So you can have Han's shirt, Luke's jacket, and then someone else's, like another set of trousers.
That's
so
cool.
you can, there's like 3 different points. It's not just like one set. It's a difference. Like the sets are 3 different things. You got the hairstyle. BD1 also has greater customization, not just the skin. You can change the color. You can change the antennas. Like he gets like a visor in one of them. The shape of his head. So they've really added way more customization, and because you can apply those different sections, like it's not limited to one set. You can make him look however you want. Basically, it's like there's loads of customization options. And what the game director specifically said is that everyone loved the lightsaber customization. It was like one of the best parts of the game. Like it was done so well. So
my kid just opens that up and plays with that. I was like, I'm making my lightsaber.
It's so fun. Once you've got like loads of stuff, you can just make whatever you want. What they said was they took that that function and applied it to Cal BD1 and his blaster and stuff. So they basically took a great system and put it to everything else in terms of customization. So all the fears of customization not being good, eliminated. Fast travel not being a thing, eliminated. So that's pretty good. Now the biggest news out of the podcast he did the other day was like an hour long, and it had like some really good stuff in. He basically said he always saw this game to be a trilogy, which we pretty much knew from the beginning. He said when they was discussing the story with Lucasfilm, that's how it was always talked about. All they had to do, the game had to do well. So as long as this game does fine, it's going to happen.
Do you recall what podcast that was?
It was called IGN Unfiltered. It's like 45 minutes long, an hour long, something like that. It's really, really good. Asks some really good questions. He gives us answers. So basically, there will be a third game because this game's going to do well. And it's what they intended to. They said from the very beginning, like, it's been in their mind, this is what they wanted to do. And the team, Jeff Grubb, who's like a really reliable games journalist, he basically said,
that's what I call him on the show, the Grubb.
He was told like beforehand that the team at Respawn are under the assumption as long as the game just does fine, they're going to go straight into the third game straight away. So just like that's what they did with once Fallen Order, like even before it came out.
I would imagine they already know, like they have a shit ton of pre-orders already, so they probably already know, like, we're good.
And I even said in my video, I'd imagine Stig, the game director, he's already like thinking on, like they're already working on the next game, pretty much. Like the idea, like it's not probably been officially greenlit yet, like. But they've got like stuff down. It's like he was saying stuff, but basically in this case, like it's happening, but without saying it's happening. So it's definitely going to be a trilogy. And he also said because it's not on Unreal Engine 5 this time, which a lot of people thought it was going to be, he said it's going to be a safe bet. The next game will be. So basically saying, they're going to do it. And the reasons why it's not Unreal Engine 5 this time is they was already so far along with this game before like more tools started coming out, and they heavily modified the Unreal Engine 4 so much for Fallen Order and Survivor that it wasn't going to be like up to the standard yet. They need like a couple more years. So, but he basically said the next game is going to be on Unreal Engine 5. So let's say it's in 3 years' time. That's a fairly good gap. Like, between Fallen Order, Survivor, and then this third game, that's a pretty.
Or how about you start working yesterday, Stig? Come on.
Because like they got this game, like a lot of people are totally forgetting. Almost all this game was made from home. They've only just started, like, because it was obviously COVID hit early 2020. This game was Fallen Order came out at the end of 2019. They've only a few people, like right now. He explained the COVID situation. He said like they had to like, reinvent how they work and things like that, and it was tough, but. He basically said right now it's optional. If some people want to go into the office to get things done, they can. But like pretty much everyone's working from home still. So this game, like a huge, one of the biggest Star Wars games, has been made completely by this team from their homes, which is incredible. Like to get this out, and it looks like they just. He also touched on the delay. He said, I only think we need 6 weeks, specifically 6 weeks. And he went to Lucasfilm and Disney and EA. And they said, do you need any more? And he said, no, all we need is just 6 weeks. And that just happened to be April 28th. So it seems like they only needed a little bit more time. They were offered more time if needed, but he's like, sure, like it didn't need to be that much of a delay. So a lot of people were worried it's gonna be like really bad at release, but I'm like, he seems really, really confident. And they were offered more time anyway. So yeah, that's overall it's sounding really good. How technically, and then in terms of like more gameplay stuff. So on the main central planet of the game, it's called Kobo, and there's going to be a huge hub. It's called Ramblers Ranch, and this is where there's going to be loads of NPCs and stuff. So this is going to be like, if you want to interact with NPCs, this is the place to go, because he says basically there's going to be vendors that you can interact with and buy stuff off. So that's a brand new feature. So you don't have to just do it in like find stuff. You can actually trade with people. There's going to be a big cantina that's like a big, like the main section of this town, and that's got like areas that will open, like parts of the canteen that open up as you progress through the game,
like the VIP room.
maybe.
Like Club 39.
It sounds like
it
sounds like Grease from the first game. He's like in
Club
the cantina,
66.
or
it's just
people would
murder
like
children. Yeah,
that's the worst part about it.
Yeah, no clones.
So yeah, so we've got a town that's got villagers that are selling you stuff. There's also NPCs that you can just talk to that'll, give you lore and stuff. So that's already a huge improvement over the first game, because that was missing. I know some people have been really worried
in the first game, when you're like on the planet with the Star Destroyer that you're like jumping around, and that planet, you're like walking by like welders and stuff, and they're like talking and and then that shit just kind of goes away.
Yeah. Like Zepho had that village, but because it had been taken over by the Empire, there was no one. And just have some villagers there would have been way better than just stormtroopers. But basically, some people have been worried in like my comments that Kobo is this big central planet, and there's going to be loads of other planets. They just haven't talked about them yet. But people are really worried it's just going to be on this planet and everything's that. But they've built this really. They basically said it's like an open world. Like it's huge. And it has all these NPCs and stuff. The other worlds are going to be where you're going to be doing like the story stuff, and there will be stuff to explore. But like this is going to be the huge planet, like the Breath of the Wild. Like they've really been heavily inspired by Breath of the Wild here. And this is where it's got like the NPCs and stuff like that. So it already, I know some people don't like the look of the planet because it is kind of generic, but people just want Coruscant. That's all they want more than anything. And all I say is you can't have Cal just be on Coruscant using his lightsaber all the time.
Coruscant's not a good place if you want like open, if you want like an open world kind of like play, like in Coruscant itself. It
seems like a really huge planet that's been crafted really, really well. It's got what we've asked for, like NPCs. You're going to be able, like, instead of just finding stuff, you can go up to people, interact with them, get details, plus buy stuff.
What they want is cyberpunk in Star Wars. They want a big techno planet they can go around and feel like a badass, and just that's it. I'm not saying that they right or wrong on it, but that's when they say that Coruscant stuff. That's
but when it comes to when I think of like Breath of the Wild, for instance, being in like a castle environment where everything is just like built environment, it doesn't hit the same. I'm not saying the planet's going to be good. I don't know. I don't even really necessarily. I'm not like pessimistic about the game at all. I've already bought the game. Like I'm in. But
plus, they're getting Breath of the Wild. What's weird is getting this with Breath of the Wild mechanics in a year that you're getting another Breath of the Wild. Mm-hmm. That's the only thing that I could like see as kind of a negative. From
that's a game. Positive. That's a great game.
I'll take it. Like my kind of audience, they don't own a Switch. Like they don't want to play anything from Nintendo. Like I say that as someone who does like Nintendo games and owns a Switch, but like my audience, they want Coruscant, Order 66, Anakin killing people. Like they don't want Mario.
And you also have your like Star Wars people that are just like, I don't watch anything else. I don't play anything else, just unless it has a Star Wars logo on it. And like, so like, they're going to be like, wow, Star Wars invented this. Zelda should be more like the Star Wars game. Like, that's kind of like how the attitude seems to go. where it's like their only frame of reference is Star Wars, and so
yeah, like
I'm happy
this
though.
planet. It's so people had issues with the tombs in Jedi Fallen Order, which I thought were cool because they were different to what we sort of expected from like a Jedi game. But because people didn't like them tied to the story, they've basically, even though there will be some puzzles, they've basically turned these tombs, put them into Kobo, so they're going to be hidden on this planet, and they are there if you want to explore. Like, they're not tied to the story, so you can just find them, and if you want to do them and earn cool stuff to
kind of like
change
Breath of the
gameplay,
Wild with those
yeah,
optional
yeah. So they're there, and they look like the one that we saw like 5 minutes of it, and the environment looks amazing. It's like High Republic, like it's definitely from the High Republic. It's got the really cool like Jedi look to it. So I'm hoping there's like a good variety of those. But then another they did actually show us gameplay of a second location, which is quite different. So they called it an unnamed moon, which I think's that moon I was banging on about before in the sky that's like fractured.
Yeah,
I
Majora?
think it's that. So
what?
Yeah,
I'm being a dick.
so we don't know what this moon is, other than Bode is with us at this time. We find Bode or something like that. It looks like it's very industrial, so it feels like maybe there's like a mining operation going on this planet, and the battle droids are on there as well. And the tagline was, they said like Cal went there to do something, to like meet up with Bode, and the Bedlam Raiders, who were like the main enemies on Kobo, and the droids, they ambushed him. They knew they was waiting for him. And an interesting point was that they said this specific like moon, this area, was like had a horror feel to it, because there was like smoke and fog, and you'd be like walking through it, and there'd be like battle droids just standing there, and like they'd be like all in corners everywhere, like they'd be waiting for you. So it's a very different feel to what Kobo offers. They said they're really trying to change how things are. So like this is quite more of a claustrophobic, like it's very corridor based. It's not open world. There's a lot of atmosphere to it. And in the gameplay they showed you fighting Magna Guards and things like that. So the environment is very different to Kobo. That's all they said. Other than it's an unnamed moon, so it's tied. This was tied to the story. It's not far into the game, but it was into the game because you met Bode at this point. They just didn't show Bode. Another thing they mentioned for PS5 owners, it's going to have DualSense support, but Stig didn't want to say exactly what it's going to have. I'd assume for lightsaber, blasters, grappling, all that sort of stuff, it's going to have the reactive trigger. So that's he said we did some good stuff with that. So if you're on PS5. That's another thing. He also said like the lighting was one of the main differences, like from Fallen Order to Survivor, is the lighting, because the new consoles have allowed the artists to do stuff like they just could not do. Like they tried with the next gen version, they couldn't do it, but now, building this new version, they've been able to do some really cool stuff apparently. So we'll see how that is. And let's see what else. I think that's about it.
I have to go and pick up the kids from school. My ex can't get them, so I have.
One last thing.
One last thing.
I've to do with Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. I know I said a couple of weeks ago it seems like the Mando stuff's been cancelled. That's apparently what has happened. Well, today I checked the back end for the game on Steam, and they uploaded a test for Lucasfilm to approve. They only did this when there was a new DLC. So this is like, if it has been cancelled, this is something different, or it's back on the cards, because they haven't done a Lucasfilm. That it's been pretty quiet on this front for like a couple of months. Like they've been working on stuff, but this is like an actual Lucasfilm approval thing, and they only did this with the character pack. So it seems like something is coming. They wouldn't just do this for no reason, I think. So
there's maybe a chance. Maybe.
And
then before we go, Frog Eater 199 Super Chat says Marvel Echo said to hit Disney Plus in October, though. I don't know. I trust Bestman Bulletin. Bestman Bulletin is saying it's Marvel, Star Wars. So maybe it will. Maybe it still will, but that's what he's hearing, and that's, to the best of my knowledge, rings true. So I think it would be a mistake to go that way. So I'm hoping that we end up with it earlier, and that if they go Marvel, Star Wars, Marvel, Star Wars,
Echo was delayed.
But that's and once again,
I saw something
for all
about
I know,
2024 for that.
Yeah, I thought it was delayed.
And I thought Bespin said that as well to me before, but I don't really follow the Marvel stuff, so I don't want to misspeak.
And I haven't seen anything new from the shooting of it, and whereas they're showing like pics of Daredevil and those guys working out, so I would be shocked if that show comes out this year.
Yeah, but all right, Azzatru, thank you for bringing us all of that and getting me up to speed. And I gotta go get my kids, or they're gonna be sitting at school just being like, "Where's my father? Why don't my parents love me anymore? Have I been?"
My dad did that to me once. Like he left me there till 9 o'clock. Like
it happened to me.
They pulled up with food.
Times.
This is a true story. They pulled up with dinner, like Mexican, and I'm like, "Did you give me anything?" We're like, "We got food at the house." Like, I'm like, "Yeah, I know, but you were on the way to get me."
All
okay.
Right. All right, everyone. Thank you for all of the support today, you guys. I appreciate it to everybody who's a channel member. Thank you to Azzatru for bringing us all the information, and thank you to Rob for bringing that prize-winning personality. I'm kidding.
Thanks for the crypto. As a crypto.com.
Bye, guys.